Yeah, I'm not gonna see the one. What it is, oh, it's.
Ah, this is,
That's you, right?
yep, this is, I don't know. No, see, I think it's off. Yeah, see, it's, it's not how it is off. Yeah, there's the screen.
Yes, it's
Let's back out of restream, dude. It looks like crap. Oh,
And now, detailing success in PNS Double Black present the Renny Doyle podcast.
well, I guess here we go. I'm going to concentrate on Zoom.
Detailer of Air Force One and founder of both Detailing Success and the Detail Mafia, Renny Doyle. And now, here's Renny.
Yeah, and here we are with some technical difficulties. So let's see if we can figure this out. Oscar, how we doing, man?
Are you on Restream or are you over here?
I'm on both.
Oh,
Yeah, I am on both.
yeah, I think we'll have to go with Restream or you want to go?
Oh, you tell me. I'm just the
Close. You just check on Restream because I can't see you on Restream over here.
yeah. So Zoom's a go, and we've got people on here. So my restream is all screwy. So I'm not sure if we want to do that or not. So it's up to you.
Just continue over there and then I'll jump on from here in a minute.
Okay. So we're gonna go back over to Zoom, correct?
Stick to Zoom and still Restream it.
Cool. I'm gonna back out of this. Sorry, guys. We're trying something new, and obviously we don't have it quite down yet. So I'm going to leave out of here and go back over to Zoom. We're going to do it. So how y'all doing, man? Good morning. Sorry, we're going to we're in a little bit of a, it's kind of a challenge getting this going, but we're going to go for it. So I hope you guys are all having a great week, and it's hard to believe that it's Wednesday already. So we're going to jump into this. We'll at least get it recorded over on Zoom so we can put it out and get it out to the podcast and the different videos of YouTube and so forth like that. So here we go. So we're going to jump into it. We got a lot of cool stuff that's coming up. We're in the middle of right now our 5-day extreme PPF and window film training. So today they switch over from doing PPF to automotive window film. Then tomorrow we switch over to going into residential film. So it's going to be fun. Then a day of business. So they've done really well. Last week we did our normal 5-day detail training. That was awesome. We really had a great time, great students. We got a lot of cool stuff done. And so it's been a busy couple weeks. We had a busy week before that, is that we're getting everything, a lot of our marketing and stuff in place. So just like all of you, we're super busy and being pretty productive. So the other thing that's going on too is this Saturday, we're going to be down at Gloss Lab in Victorville, California. We've got a sold out paint correction clinic that we're going to do that morning. So we're really excited about that. We'll probably be setting another date with them sometime. So if you're in the high desert of Southern California and want to come out to that, kind of watch something, we'll figure something out for spring or winter or springtime. We'll do another one down there. So, last night I was thinking about this, and it's all about where are the profits? And we're going to go into some different things that a lot of people may or may not be thinking about when they think about profits. And so kind of stick with us, is that we're not going to just talk about services alone. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about the finances, the dollars and cents of a service business. This is my favorite thing I do, between, training people live here in the studio here and then doing these podcasts. We're not about popularity on this. We really want to reach just if I get one person that's really digging it and they get what we're putting down, that's success to me. I can't thank you enough for tuning in and just allowing us to take and hopefully and make an impact in your life and your business. But I want to share it's the most important thing that we do. So with that, let's see if make
Also,
introduce the student here for the 5-day training. We've got a machine sand, and my buddy's going to come in from Dynabraid, Oscar, you want to talk about the class just a little bit?
Yeah, like Renny said, it can be right after we're gonna cook some salmon. We're done some hand machine and it's gonna be great. I mean, up here, if you're coming to the 5-day, that's gonna be an additional, correct, Renny?
Yeah, we're going to take in for members of our group, the Mafia, they get a serious discount. The people that are coming through training that week, if you've already reserved your spot, you can extend your stay for another day, and there's no additional charge. You can sit right in on that class. It's going to be an exciting class because it's Matt is insanely talented when it comes to machine sanding.
The
And a
beast.
lot of people, they make our polisher, right? But a lot of people don't realize that they're probably one of the premier leaders in sanding tools in the world. Is that they're up there, when you start using sanding tools, they're top three for sure. And so to have this opportunity to have them come in and show machine sanding on, custom paint, collision center paint, and then factory paint, it's a rarity, and it's especially on those three levels, especially now with OEM paints being what they are, with they're so thin, and you have to be so careful. So we're really blessed to have Matt come in and join us, and we're really excited about it. It's going to be a fun class on the 22nd. It's in November again. All right, so let's talk about this. Jumping into our topic at hand today is, where are the profits at? And so I want you to take and take notes on this, and so the people that are here, is so many people think about where they're going to add on dollars, and a lot of the times in your business, it's sitting right in front of you. And the key way is know your numbers. We've been preaching this. Some of my mentors and coaches, Bud Abraham, if you go way back into the earliest days of mobile tech, is one of the first lectures I did with him was knowing your numbers and how that's a key. And it is, because most small service businesses don't know their numbers. They don't know what each of their services are clearing them. And a lot of the times you'd be shocked or surprised if you looked at them. A lot of people gravitate towards the high end numbers. They think the big, the coding corrections, everything else, that's going to be where the big numbers are. And sometimes they can be, but if you don't know for sure, then you need to find that out. So another thing is, stop spending and save. So, cash is king, especially when we're in a different economy right now. Is that I definitely wouldn't call it a recession, but it's definitely slowed down. We can see many industries we were in town. I was in town yesterday for a brief time, and I overheard somebody that works at a couple of restaurants, and they're talking about how the restaurant business was down the hill and up here. And so when I say down the hill, we live in a resort community in the mountains. And so they work at both locations, down in the desert, in Palm Springs area, pretty high end. And last winter it was down. They're hoping that this winter it doesn't get there. It's kind of been down. It's been a weird summer up here. And so business in general. So when we get into these tougher economies, and this one isn't what I'd call super tough, you've got to get aggressive, is that so many people just are throwing money out the window and they're not tracking it. And it's not about what you're spending. It's not about what you're making, it's about what you're spending. You got to save that money. I like to tell people, every single job, and I know a lot of you, this is really tough, but I did it. And if I can do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. Is every single job, I don't care if it was a $50 job back in the day, is I would take anywhere from 25 to 50% of it and put it away in savings. And so when I needed money, I'd pull that back out of savings. We'd still do the same thing. We'll pull it back out of savings only as needed. So we try to build that savings up as much as we can. So what does this have to do with profits? It has a lot to do with it, because those rainy days come around. In some parts of the country, we're going to go into a busy time. Most of the country, we're going to go into a little slower time. And having that stockpile of savings, even if it's a small amount, could really save you a lot of heartache. So the other thing, a lot of people that they really, and this is a big one, is they don't have a clear vision and a plan on what's going to make them happy, healthy, productive in the form of income. It's shocking how many small companies just they bought the seat of their pants, and they're looking at Me Too advertising. They're doing everything their competition's doing. Their competition's also broke. They just don't know it. And they're following those trends. And a lot of times I tell people, set trends, don't follow them. But you've got to take and have a really clear vision and plan in place on how you're going to take and live your life, what you want out of it, and how much money that's going to take. is kind of, Oscar, I like it. You call it backwards planning, correct?
Yeah, backwards. I mean, look at the situation that we're in right now. If I went out and spent everything that I've ever made, I wouldn't be in the position where, making the next move as far as, the money wise goes, is that there's money in a pot that I can reach back and dig into and get myself out of situations, or in this situation, making a big move, making a transition, that money is going to come in handy. But if I was out there just spending it, trying to follow social media and trying to follow and getting everything that everybody else has, I don't think I'd be in the position that I am, and a lot of that came from the mentorship I got from you, Renny, this group. I give a lot of credit to Joab and Justin Lobato for showing me how to do that, showing me how to save my money and not just go out there and spend it. I was talking to these guys last night. It was in here like 10 o'clock last night. It was when I first started, it was like, just go detail and go spend the money that night. You detail whatever you get, go spend it, because you got another detail tomorrow, right? That was my mentality when I first started.
No, it's, you look at what we're doing. A lot of people don't know it is you look at the moves that we ever attempted. And I'll tell you, this is a great lesson now is I went after, Diane and I went after a piece of property this week. And, usually we've got a lot going on this week. Usually, and this is a lesson I'm going to share it with a friend of mine who was involved in the deal, is that they got too rushed. And if I had more time to think about it, we probably would have ended up with the property but it got rushed, and something I usually don't do, but we allowed the seller to kind of push us into a corner. And had I stepped back and said, no, listen, we're going to make we want this property. We're going to make a significant offer, but you've got to give us just 48 hours instead of, I think they gave us 12. If they would have, even if would have gotten, I won't say, 24 hours, because if they would have given us until this morning, the property would have been ours. And so I'm going to call my friend up that was the realtor on it and share it with her. And said, look at, man, I know in the heat of the battle that you want, so slow roll things, because so many of us get in a big hurry, and I know it's income, right? But in this case, if everybody would have just settled down, we would have gotten the property we really wanted. The sellers would have made a lot more money on it, and the realtors would have made more money on it too. But everybody got in a hurry because the economy's tighter, and these realtors kind of pushed it. And who paid the price? We did, because we didn't get the property we wanted, and the sellers could have made probably, I'm guessing, $30,000 more. Is that I would have just sat down last night at 3:30 in the morning. I woke up thinking about this, and I went, damn, you know what? My body woke up, and I was like, I wasn't ready to sleep anymore. And I started taking envision some stuff. And then that popped in my head. I was like, if I would have slow rolled this thing and I would have controlled it a little more, this wouldn't have gone down like that. So how many of those things, are you letting customers, get on top of you and push you? Don't. Slow it down. Really think things through. And I know we're going to get into to three key factors throughout this, dotted throughout this conversation. But this is a big one, is having that clear vision. And then that clear vision is going to allow you. We knew we wanted that, but again, being in the midst of this, and I try to tell the realtor involved, hey man, let us slow down. We're busy this week. Diane's got a lot going on. I've got a guest here, business guest here, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So here's let's look at myth number one. Is most service businesses think that the big number of services offer the biggest profits. That's not always the case. Let's look at the side effects of that. Is that on those big ticket items, they can be really rewarding if you're set up for it and you're ready for it, and you know your numbers, and you're not competing with other people, you're competing yourself only. But here's the facts on these bigger numbers. Is there's added labor to it. The labor is going to cost you more. Now, if you're a one-person shop, that can be dangerous, because how much time do you have involved to bring other customers on? It can also be good because you're known for something. You've got a niche, but the labor is going to increase. The material cost is going to increase, sometimes greatly, but the added labor is what, time's expensive. Products are usually cheaper. Your shop space, you've got tied up shop space. If you're mobile, is the back and forth. If you're going back and forth and you're doing, it's going to take you 2 or 3 days to do these higher end jobs. You've got to calculate that travel time and those expenses into knowing your numbers. your insurance, if you're not taking and telling your insurance company what level of service you're doing, like let's say you're doing some spot sanding on stuff, they need to know that. And if they don't know that, their job is to not provide you coverage if you screw something up. And so your insurance is going to increase on those level of products. And all you need when you're selling that product or that service is one mistake to happen, and that could cost you to lose insurance. And if you lose enough of your insurance, there's good insurance and there's cheap insurance. They're not the same. But there's only so many good insurance companies out there, and pretty soon you're going to have a hard time finding the good insurance anymore that's affordable or even close to being cost effective. And then the cost of obtaining those customers. Now that cost can go up, but sometimes that cost of obtaining those customers, if you're marketing to them right, is that they're going to tell like friends. But how many of those friends do they have? It just depends on your market you're in. So those are all things to look at, the big ticket items. So many people look at those big, gorgeous red apples on those trees, and they want to go after it, and they want to go to the highest points. But you've got to have the ladder to climb up there. Is you've got to get permission to do it. You've got so many different things, while there's easier pickings on the lower limbs. And so on the opposite end of all of this, think high volume is lucrative. There's the dead opposite. So you've got the people that want to be doing the $2,500, $3,000 paint corrections and coatings, or the $5,000 total PPF wraps. And then there's the other people that are down there that they're doing a high volume wash and they think it's really lucrative. Is don't confuse fleet work with high volume washing of cars. They're two separate things. So let's dive into that a little bit. And I'm going to get Oscar involved because both of us, we both ran when fleets. And so we took and really went after fleet business. Now I never went after washing, unless there's a caveat we're going to talk about down below. Is let's compare the two. Washing, many charge way too less. It's a small amount. It's a tiny amount that they're going out there. And when they add in the expense of their chemicals and their travel time and the fuel, it's not much profit. But yet they're just out there busting their butt doing that. And I know it's easier money. And I know it's money to allow you to survive, but man, it's surviving by the skin of your teeth. And so you got to be really, really careful with that. Now, if you're washing at commercial buildings, country clubs, golf courses, other places where there's kind of mass venues, mass people coming in, this could lead you to a lot of good work. Is that we did this for years, a decade, and it really brought in a lot of good business. But here's what we had to do with that, is that it wasn't about just the wash services. Actually, that was a break even for us, is that we had a country club golf course that we did it at, and we had it at a couple of events that we did it at in town. But here's what we did, is it gave us an opportunity to get with those car owners, is that we could take and sell off as suggestive needs of the vehicle. So if we saw wash scratches, or if we saw scratches, or we saw an interior that needed some work, some dried out leather, all these different things, we could take and actually offer to send them a proposal on that and try to get some work off that. Also, it was brand new contacts. It was new contacts we hadn't had and wouldn't have if it wasn't for that event or venue. It gave us an opportunity to send all of them to get them onto our newsletter for special events and invites. And then again, is the biggest thing we're after is no charge evaluations for what their car needed. Now, if you're just out washing one at a time, you're in a cul-de-sac. I know there's people that will own a neighborhood. I know that people they need the money, but you've got to be very careful with that. And I'm very careful to just offer a wash by itself. And so we're going to give you the alternative. So let's talk about fleet work though. You know, you go into the country clubs and stuff, but what about Oscar's got a great point of what he did when he was at stop signs. So Oscar, jump into that a little bit of what you were looking for, just on a normal drive, or if you're on your bike on the.
Yeah, so I mean, my fleet work started. The first fleet that I got, they actually approached me during COVID, and that was when I was doing all the volunteer work with Food Share. I took my truck home and I asked them. I said, "Can I take it? This truck's dirty. I'm out there representing. We're delivering food, and the truck's just bad. It was raining. Had been using it for a month, and that kind of led to something because they were all wrapped. But we were out there handing out food to the community, and when the CEO of Food Share saw it, she was like, "Well, why did we get a new truck?" And they're like, "No, just Oscar wash it." And he was like, "I want him to wash all the trucks." They had like over 36 trucks at the time. And I'm talking from everything from pickup trucks, trailers, to full-size moving trucks. I'm talking about the big ones. Wasn't doing semis, but you know, the next smaller one. And they made me an offer I couldn't refuse to do that fleet. And at that point, I told people I became a car washer on 1 week in a month, and I got it down to where it used to take me 2 days to do those trucks, but I got it down to 1 day with the chemicals that I was using. And I was literally washing them and then just using bead maker. Every 3 months I would apply it, and it just made it that much easier for me. I got it down to where I was washing a pickup truck in 20 minutes. It was just a blowout, a wipe down, rinse, foam, wash it, dry it. And then I had my cousin come in and he would do the windows because I don't like doing windows. And he would come in 2 hours after me and just follow me. He would just trail, and his whole job was to do windows. We ended up knocking him out in 1 day. But that ticket alone covered my overhead at the shop plus chemicals, and was still making over $100 an hour on the fleet for me and my cousin. So, I mean, you can imagine the tickets. Now, let me flip it on the other side. I did a fleet work for a house cleaning business. The total opposite. They wanted everything done, clean, detailed, but they only wanted to pay $75 a car. And it was 6 cars. And we did it a few times. And to me, it just wasn't worth it on a Saturday morning to get up, drive out there, do it. I was in a neighborhood where I had to transition from a gas pressure washer to an electric pressure washer because of the noise. So you really got to watch out on what you're doing. But how do I find the fleets? Very easy. When I'm driving around my town, anywhere actually, I did it in San Francisco and posted it to our group, to the Detail Mafias. I always find vehicles that are wrapped. There's always businesses in your community that are wrapped, whether it's the plumbers, HVAC, housekeeping. I've seen wrap vehicles for, I mean, headlights. There's a headlights company, believe it or not, in California that has their little bugs wrapped. You snap a picture of them, do your research, go on social media. If they have a social media presence, check out their websites. Do your research on what they are, who they are, where they're at. I went as far as, I know it's not stalking, but I went as far as driving their yard to see how many cars they actually had in their parking lots. And then I would just come up with my pitch, come in, put on a polo short one day when I had no work, and I would go in there and just request to talk to the owner and just tell him who I was and the services that I provide and how I can help them. And I always closed out with, your cars are out there in the community. You want to be looking your best when you're representing your company. Just like I want to look my best when I'm representing my company. That meant that I had to dress up a little bit. You can't go in there in shorts and Crocs or, slides, sweats. You actually got to, play the part and dress up and go talk to these business owners. And you just plant the seed and just follow up with them. A lot of times they'll be like, all right, thank you. I went as far as offering, let me just do one to show you what I can do. And I would like, you can drop it off at the shop. I can take it, bring it back, and then just see what I can do. Because again, I'm trying to win that long-term customer. I'm trying to have a fleet every month, once a month. And when I was doing the trucks for Food Share, it was once a month. If it rained, if I was slow, I knew I could always count on that last Saturday or Sunday. And I was working weekends at that time, but it was well worth it, guys. I mean, to me, the income that I was making off of that is, like I said, sometimes I can go 2 months without doing one detail, and that one fleet would cover my overhead. You know what I'm saying? So go out there as you're driving around in your community, start looking for vehicles that are wrapped. They have phone numbers, they have QR codes, they have, their logos. How can you make those cars look better? What services can you offer to them so they can represent themselves better in the community? And it's all about how you're selling it. If you go in there and say, you know what, I see you got, 6 ambulance, I give them all, 450 per one. It's like, if you go in there just looking for the money, it's not going to happen. Build a relationship. But in order for you to build a relationship, you got to study their business. You got to study what they do. And sometimes they make sense, because I approach UPS, I approach Amazon, and they didn't care. UPS does not care how their trucks looks when they're delivering boxes, because that's what the guy said. Bro, we deliver boxes. But now someone that's delivering food, do you really want to be delivering food in dirty trucks? Doesn't go with the image. So then that's when they're starting to bite. Same thing with housekeepers. You're cleaning houses. You're in the business of cleaning houses. I'm in the business of cleaning cars. Why not show up to a house in a clean car? And that's how you sell it. And I'm telling you, fleets, it's good. And there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got to bring one of those webinars once a month. Ready? One of the podcasts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because I see a lot of people do a lot of fleets, and they go into these used car lots, because that's considered a fleet. And they're doing them for $15 a car, and they're spending 30, 40 minutes on a car plus chemicals and water. And then that's when you're not making money, but you're saying, well, I'm doing 20 cars a day. Great. How much are you making?
Skin your teeth. It comes down to skin your teeth. So we lived in an area that had winter. UPS, FedEx, fracking rigs in Texas, and landscapers Those were all fleets that we maintained year round and we did very well with. The guys hated it when we were busy in the summertime, but when it was dead in the wintertime, is we sure loved having that work because it kept us at 40 hours a week, year in, year out, every day, 5 days a week. It allowed us to take time off during the wintertime when we weren't busy and still get paid for it. And so it's fleet work. We kept it the whole way through, and it's a great cash flow. And there's a way that we even teach in the courses on how to bid those out, because you've got to know how to bid them, and that's a whole nother discussion right there, right? And so look at, there's entry level work, which is going to be the most entry level is washes. And it's easy. That's why so many, especially in big metropolitan areas, so many detailers, they're not really detailers, they're washers. And I get it that it gets your start, but at some point you got to get off that and onto the real money making offerings, right? And then there's the step above that, which is going to be your fleet work and your golf courses and stuff like that. I like the golf course one better than even fleet work because it gives you a chance to mingle with the right kind of people, right? Then let's come into what we're calling mid-range. So we talked about the real high-end stuff, thousands, let's say $1,500 details and up. Everybody seems to want that, and maybe not. We've got people that we know that are very successful off doing this mid-range that we're talking about right now. So here's a mid-range, the entry level mid-range is an alternative to wash. Is that in our company, the only way that we would wash is on a membership. Is you had to have a subscription. People are used to subscriptions. 25, 30 years ago, they weren't. Today, selling a subscription wash, a hand wash and maintenance, I won't even call it that, is I would call it a hand maintenance on your vehicle inside and out. Is totally doable. You hit their credit card automatically. It's on software. First of the month, you're already paid. Regardless, you're paid. And that's what I love about it. But the mid-range stuff is the wash, clay, and protect. Is that I absolutely love this offering. This is something great. People call up. It's something that you can offer them and an alternative to a wash. When they call up, they want to wash. They gripe at the price that it's, whatever your price is on that wash, clay, protect, $150. Oh, no, I'm just looking for a $35, $40 wash. Unfortunately, we're not a mass car wash, but here's one that I trust. Build a good relationship with that car wash. Is it as good as you? Guys, it's a car wash. There's good ones out there. You need to find them. Now, some markets don't have good ones, but these days you go within an hour of here and geez almighty, you've got, probably, I'm not kidding you, 18 car washes within an hour and 20 minutes of here. Probably more than that. And just on one road that Becky drives down, coming up and down here, there's got to be a dozen just on that road. It's crazy. And some of them do a dang good job. Now, are they going to mess the cars up? Well, you got to look at it from the convenience standpoint of people. What are they looking for? But that wash, clay, protect, that offering, we absolutely love. Now, the mid-range, mid-level is a step up from the wash, clay, protect. And that's going to be a wash, clay, and coat. And what we're going to do on that one is we're going to step it up to a sprayable coating that's going to go down on it like Defender, something like that. Now, the higher level is going to be a one-step correction. Again, with a spray and wipe SiO2 based sprayable coatings, like Defender, it's just a one step. Now, an upgrade to that is going to be a longer term hand applied coating, and so all of those are doable, but yet very profitable. If you know your numbers on those, is that especially if you're a one or two man person, if you're a small team, is that you can kill it on all those services. Absolutely kill it. And let me tell you something, the keynote number one is the mid-range services can be offered nationwide. I don't care where you're at in the country, you can make money off of wash clay protects and wash clay coats in single stage with sprayable coatings or a durable coating. I don't care where you're at. There's a market for it. You can make the money you need to make a comfortable living. While you take your time, it's not going to happen overnight. Andy just sent us this. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you quit, it's never going to happen. And so, those that are getting into business or those that are into the wash side of it, start migrating over to these mid-range services as quickly as you can, because you're going to have to keep those washes to keep your, paying your bills, right? But you want to start finding a little better clientele, and that's really, really important. Oscar, what you got anything to add to that one?
I mean, the wash clay protects. Not only that, but if you're doing it right, you're going to get returning customers on the wash clay protects.
Huh.
You're going to get return. I mean, don't be a, one time hitter when it comes to these services. Is build those relationships, guys. Build the relationships, get to know your clients, and get out there and chase it, because the wash clay protects, to me, when we were doing a tour, Carlos is here. I mean, I used to tell the detailers down there, I was like, this is where it's at for me. I'm all about a 2-step. Over there, they do 3 steps, believe it or not, polishing. They buff. I don't know. They cut, they buff, and then they polish. Every car is a 3-step, and I'm like, dude, I'm lazy. I show you wash clay protects all day, and I'm at the gym by 2, because I'm charging what I need to, and I'm not working as much. I know there's plenty of people in our group that do the wash clay protect program, and it gets them through. And not only that, it's a service where your clientele is going to open. You're going to open a lot more clients on a wash clay protect than you are going to do on a 2-step and a 5-year coating. I guarantee it, because not everybody is in the market for a 2-step and a 5-year coating or a 7-year coating, but everyone is in the market for a wash clay protect, because it's a little bit overpriced of what the car washes are doing. In my case, 5 Points out, they're doing something for like $69.99 with a wax. It's easy for me to charge $150 for, something that's going to last you six months to a year. So it's all about how you're selling, on how you're presenting it to the client. But Wash Clay Protects is where it's at for a lot of detailers. If you're not doing it, reach out to us. We will help you get there. But to me, I personally, if I would start all over again, that's where I would focus my time, on Wash Clay Protects, instead of trying to go in for the high end, try to go in for the 12-hour, buffing and polishing and all that stuff. I would just Wash Clay Protects all day. Easy.
It provides you a great lifestyle. And point number 2, concentrate, and you already said it, concentrate on repeat customers using these services. And what we were seeing our customers come back 3 to 4 times with multiple cars. And so we're seeing these customers sometimes 12, 16 times a year because they have multiple cars. And so the other thing we do is we'd sell them on a wash clay if they weren't in the market. And a lot of people, for paint correction, they're going to run it through a car wash now and again. They're going to take it. They don't have it inside of a garage. They're not real car people. That's the majority of drivers out there, right? And with that majority, that means that there's a lot when there's numbers, there's higher numbers of getting it, just like we talked about. And so point number 2 is concentrate on those repeat customers coming utilize your services 3 times a year. Have an amazing referral program in place, and then you're going to constantly hear this, stay top of mind. What top of mind is, when somebody says detail, they think of you. They think of your company, but first they think of you. That's really important. And then going right after point number 2 is customer retention and inventing new pools of customers. How are you going to do that? Oscar just talked about it a little bit, is stop trying to find more and more customers and start servicing your current customers better. You've got to get a marketing, we teach an hour a day marketing program, is you've got to take and get those customers and service them better. If you're gonna make it a wash, make it a subscription based wash, and then again, it takes work. It's not going to happen overnight to make this happen, but if you keep at it, it's going to. And let me tell you, that is the biggest pool of referring customers that we've ever seen in the industry, is those customers. And if you can do 75 to 125 an hour off those mid-range services, what is wrong with that? That is an absolute fantastic business and scalable, and it offers lifestyle. It offers, you can go buy a house, you can do things with your money. And again, there's more customers there, more appreciative customers that you can find with it. So add-on services and some of the misinformation on those services. Right now, we're in the midst of a 5-day PPF and window tint training, right? Is, first off, let's talk about this. It doesn't need to be as difficult as people make it. It just doesn't. You can start out there's some great companies out there training. There's some great people out there doing it. But the biggest thing you're here, and the truth about it is, it takes a while to learn it and get proficient at it. That's if you start with the complicated stuff. What we teach is in chapters. Is they're here. Our idea is when they leave here on Monday, when they get home, when they leave and fly home on Saturday, when Monday they get home, they can start doing side windows on cars, and they can start doing the simple PPF services right then and there. Now, are they going to need to learn still? They're going to need to practice. They're going to get better and better and better. But my point to that is that they're leaving and they're going to start making profits off it. And they're going to go through some film, but they're not going to go near through the film, and they're not going to get aggravated. That's the biggest thing. So many people get into PPF and tint and then quit. They never stay with it because they're spending so much, they're wasting so much film. So our method of training is a little different. And our method of profitizing is a little different. The other thing with PPF is a lot of people say it just won't work on, and the same with tint, it won't work on the mobile application. Listen, I had a good friend of mine, Johnny. They owned one of the biggest tinting companies in Southern California right at the start of when the window tinting. And it was a partnership. When this partnership fractured, Johnny went out mobile. And I'm going to guess this was probably in the late 80s, early to mid 90s, somewhere right in there. And he killed it mobile tinting on vehicles, and his work was impeccable. It can be done. You just have to have a realistic view of what you can and can't do. There's things that you can't do like that, but there's a lot of things that you can do. So let's jump right into tint. Is start offering up those roll-up windows. So many of the SUVs and trucks have got factory tinted out windows, unless you're going for UV protection or darkening up more, is a lot of times they're just trying to match it up. So go for that. So many manufacturers have the back windows already tinted. Go after those front ones, and then look at the heat and the UV blocking options too. Again, this can be done mobile. It's not impossible. You just have the right setup, right mindset, right training, right abilities, and practice. And then don't forget about residential and commercial. It is a huge opportunity out there for flat glass. We've got some windows set up behind me. We start on that tomorrow. And then wholesale opportunities for both PPF and tint is collision centers. Is they're constantly looking for, they need stuff replaced. Dealerships for the door guard edges and for window tint. There's all kinds of wholesale opportunities that you can jump out there. And so Dr. Color Chip, we love this line of product. It's not super, super hard to learn. It does to get really good. It takes some practice, but again, put the time into it, set expectations before you sell it. And there's also a retail and wholesale opportunity on both of that. We absolutely love that service. We bring it in. We got the kits here. They're a great family company. They're good people. And I don't know if you can beat the system. I really don't. It's night and day above what you can get at dealerships and other systems on the market, and it's sold by good people. They're going to take and help you profitize. That's huge. Solution Finish, this is another great product as a re-dye on the plastics, is pre-sell the expectations. How long is it going to last? And again, just like that, on with your customers is you're going to have a retail and a wholesale application. Is that dealerships don't want to sell trucks that their caps. I've got a good friend of mine, Eric. He's got a Power Wagon the same year as mine, and his caps are faded out. And so we're going to bring it in and re-dye those, and the Solution Finish will do a good job. Oscar, so many times I think we complicate the add-on services, and there's more I'm going to go over at the bottom down here, but these are the little things that you can add on there. And again, these guys, the PPF guys, real quick, I'll just ask them, guys, are you going to go home and be able to profitize from this? 100%. And so they're all shaking their heads.
But you know why though, Renny, is because one is the way that they're being taught, and two is the continuing support that we provide. I want to capitalize on that real quick. Is not only are we sending them home after a training, we're actually going to help them with, getting in a window tint, and PPF is expensive. These guys don't want to go home and buy a plotter. We're also providing them the cutout. So if they got a job, they can always reach back out to us, and we're going to assist them by giving them those cutouts to them and helping them out. So it's just not training, it's the continued support that we provide to help them make money. So they're just not investing in their business and themselves by being here. We're going to continue to support them because they invested in us. We're going to invest in them. And that's, I think, the key point that I want everyone out here to take away from this is, people look at it, these trainings are like, well, how are you going to make profit on Monday? Because the minute you go out there and you start presenting yourself, I mean, all day Friday, what are we doing, Renny? All we're doing is talking about business and marketing.
Yeah.
Everything they learn from Tuesday to Thursday, we're going to show you how to sell it on Friday. So when you go on, and I've told them all, I've been tagging them, I'm up and up with their social media. It's just not a, of 8 to 5 training, then you're on your way and you're home. Like, no, it's the continued support that's why they're going to be profitable, is because we've already planted that from day one when they got here, is the continued support, what we're going to do for them, how we're going to help them set it up. I mean, I was telling the trainers today, Britt and Carlos, I had a dream about this marketing video that I'm going to make for all of them, of how we're going to help them and us all show that they're doing window tint today. And if you guys want to see it, stick around to about 6 p.m. tonight. We'll post it on Detailing Success, and it's a reel that I already have it in my head of how they're all going to be able to use it so they can turn around and use it in their communities and get window tint jobs while they're here now. We're planting that seed for them next week and the week after and the week after that. So I think that's important too, that people know is the continued support that they're going to get after they come to the training.
No, I dig that, and it's the fact that, not only do we have the ability to provide them cutouts, but we've got a whole network within our group that may be local to them, to where if they need it, we're also showing how to bolt cut it, right? And so, a lot of people have asked us, you're new in the film industry. No. We go back, Becky and I go back to 1989 in the tent industry. And so, and then I started PPF, Porsche started putting some factory trash out on their cars, and we started replacing that in the late 90s and 2000s. And so we're no newcomer to this, and we know how to go make money with it. So let's talk about one thing that never goes out of style, and that's interiors. Is that we became known for really, really good interiors. Diane was a big part of that, my wife, because she went to Germany with me and was able to go work at shops. And the Germans did an impeccable job on interiors, their sign-off sheets, their inspections, and everything else. So she helped take our interiors and many of our students' interiors to a whole new level. Last week, I went through and inspected 2 interiors. And when she came in with the eye that she has, she was able to show them from a woman's perspective, because not a lot of people know, to Mike Phillips' credit, a swirl from a squirrel, right? Everybody knows the difference between an interior done right or wrong. And so she's got that perspective that she shares with us. And so if you price it right, you will always make profits. Now you can steer clear or away or towards nasty interiors. It doesn't matter. We took, and what we did is that if it was a trash dumpster of clutter, we like those vehicles because the stains underneath the clutter usually weren't too terribly bad. There's dog hair, there's junk, a lot of stuff to empty out. We're doing a lot of just, it was debris, right? Now, if it's nasty, we kind of stayed away from those. And so we had 2 ways. We wanted to maintain cars, and then we brought cars back to life. That's kind of how we did it. We ended up with a far better class of client who adored our interior work, and it led them down a path of recognizing how important it was to add the protection to the surfaces. And then what happens is, again, we'd see those cars 2 or 3 times a year, and a lot of our customers had multiple cars. And so it led to a nice flow of interiors that never ended. It was year around, and we liked that. And so let's talk about fact number 3, and then we're going to go into some wise words. Is that fact number 3, and this is from experience: if you are booked out more than a couple weeks all the time, year round, you need to think about raising your prices, especially with new customers. I wouldn't think I'd do. And here's why. If you want to take and buy a house or another house or invest, and you need an extra $2,000 a month, do the math. Is how many, if you're working 5 days a week, divide that number by 20 days, and that's how you got to increase your pure profits. And a lot of times we can do that by just adding dollars to our services. I understand you don't want to mess up a tempo with existing. So sometimes there was groups is that we had good, better, best. And we didn't mess with our best. Is that we would do price increases, but we didn't do anything extreme unless they're tough to deal with. And so guess which ones the good customers, we try to retain all customers, except if they were just kind of nasty to deal with. But our good, better customers were given an annual increase. We also had some really great ways of seasonal pricing that we did, and that really worked well. The other thing is, don't be the cheapest in town. Don't know what the market wants, educate the market, and guide the market to your level of services and your level of thinking. Is that we did interiors so different. We still do. We do them so different than the other guys. It set us apart. Is that we used to advertise that we could do a chemical with very, very, very light to no chemicals. Because, for instance, our son was an asthmatic when he was little. We had to be very careful what we put in our vehicles because it put him into an asthma attack right away. So we recognized chemicals we could use that could get the job done, but not interfere. And it was almost like a hyperallergenic interior detail. And so we figured out the ways to do that. And then we are always original. We always sold from a menu, and then our add-on services were essential. It's like a restaurant asking you, do you want to go large on that? Is that we always evaluated the vehicle, and I'm going to say that 8 out of 10 vehicles that came in, they needed a little something, something. Even if it was something that we didn't mention is upgrading from an average normal, our normal leather treatment product to maybe a deep cleanse and a deep protection. Is just stuff like that. Is those services, those add-ons were absolutely at the center of our universe, and we did a good job on selling them. That's the other thing is you've got to be comfortable selling. You've got to be comfortable, and I'm going to get into this in just a little bit. Is your mindset, but you've got to remove all doubt when it comes to the menu and the services and the beliefs. Is that if you believe soul deep in what you're doing and offering, you're going to be successful. The other thing is don't be lazy. If you're lazy in one thing in life, you're going to probably be lazy. You're going to have a tendency of being lazy in many things in life. And so don't be lazy. No bad days. You get your ass up. And if you're having a bad day, you turn that freaking bad day off, because that's going to translate around you to everybody around you. And you don't, there's not enough days in your life to have bad days. And then wake up believing. From the second you wake up, and if you can't train yourself to do that, you're going to have a tough time. I'm going to be honest. You're going to have a really tough time, is because that's entrepreneurship. That's business. That's life in the fast lane. And it's going to drive you nuts, and you're constantly going to be stressed if you don't. And so additional things is don't let negativity enter your mind. Once in a while, it's okay. But if it's a consistent battle, and you've got to have some hard talks with yourself, is this for you? You really do. Because if you're constantly having to, I had a mentor of mine teach me this, and we're going to end with some additional income sources that you might want to be thinking about. Is that he told me that, if you're constantly having to be motivated by Tony Robbins and people that and your tires always going flat, is that there's a problem. Is that you shouldn't need to be constantly motivated to do what you're doing, because you don't love what you're doing, you don't respect what you're doing, and you're not going to ultimately reach your potential, because all these different things, doubt, worry, concern, it's not going to happen, it's never going to happen, this is this way, the markets. Listen, if you believe all those things, if you believe you can't I've survived enough downturns being 100% nobody else paying my bills to know that your mindset is everything. It's absolutely everything. Everyone thinks that they're a powerful engineer or entrepreneur. They think that they're going to engineer their way through tough times, economic times, slowdowns, but you're going to quickly realize who's the real deal, who's going to survive and thrive versus people that are just going to make it by the skin of their teeth. And that keeps going and repeating itself. Is your mindset's everything. Thrive. Don't settle on just a survival and a basic survival ability. Is that if that's what you're going to do, you're in big trouble. And then I want to go in and end this with some additional income sources that you might want to think about. But before I do that, Oscar, that whole mindset thing, give me your thoughts.
You said it all. I mean, to me, you gotta want it. Getting up early sucks. My alarm went off probably about 5:45. I think I walked in here like 6:20. It sucks. It sucks getting up early and coming out. But you know what? After I work out, I feel a lot better, and it sets the tempo. And if I say I sleep until 8 on a work day, it's gonna set my tempo. I'm gonna be dragging. And I think your mindset is where it's at. But I also think that your mindset comes with the circle that you're around. Choose the people wisely, of who's getting in, who are you around? Who's getting in your head? Who are you talking to? Are you growing? Are you growing your mind? Or are you just, in a circle where they're just talking trash and constantly just doubting other people? If those are the conversations you're in, you got to change that mindset. You got to change your group, that's going to motivate you and push you forward. That's where we're at. By that, last night we were up here to what, like 11:30, guys? About 11:30. But you know what? We were talking about opening up a flag labs business in another state because it's, the taxes. And we were talking about building businesses. We were talking about how are we going to collaborate? How are we going to take everything that we did this week and plant a seed somewhere and, you know, grow somewhere else, help somebody else grow, you know. Britt Stokes, I'll call him out right now. Stokes Auto Spot, right, Britt from Utah? He straight up called me out. He said, hey, you know, you're getting opportunities, you know, you're moving up on certain things. Like you have an opportunity right now. You're in a big transition, not only life, but in career. I'm in a big transition. And he's like, hey man, are you going to help people out? Are you going to take them with you? You can leave me behind. What did I say, Britt? I said, hell yeah. Because if I'm making it, I'm bringing people with me, you know, and that's the type of people I want to be around. But if I'm around somebody that says, you know what, no, don't do it, it's just a bad idea, and I've had that in my life. I've had a lot of people try to talk me out from doing things. Shit, I had someone try to talk me out almost 7 years ago from coming to train with Renny. I said, oh, you don't need that, you don't need that. I'm good, we're good. No, we don't, because look at how it changed my life, how it changed my business. That all comes with mindset, guys, and your mindset comes within you. What are you doing first thing in the morning? Are you opening up your phone, going straight to Facebook and just falling into that algorithm? Or are you getting up, looking at it? I looked at Facebook, I looked at Instagram this morning, but you know what? I also got up, I put it down. I got into the gym, worked out for 45 minutes, and I felt great. After I got out of the shower, came into the shop, it felt great. And it just sets the tone. So I absolutely agree with you, Renny. I mean, your mindset's going to say everything about you, the way you present yourself, the way you communicate, the way you run your business, the way you run your life, you know, and that's where you got to answer that question to yourself. You know, Marine Corps, we used to tell people, go look at yourself in the mirror and ask if you want to be here right now. Ask yourself why you should be here right now. And that's really you looking in the mirror and asking yourself the hard question. Are you doing everything that you possibly can throughout the day to complete your job? Or are you just hitting the wave tops? Are you just getting by? Because if you are, that says a lot about your business. And I think those are the ones, Renny, that unfortunately don't make it. We see them all the time. We see them all the time. They come up during the summer, they're buying all this stuff, they're posting everywhere. And then in the winter, they're the ones selling all their gear. They're selling all their stuff because they're not making it. And a lot of it is just mindset. You know, we have a young man here, 21-year-old, right? In the class this week. I think he's in the right mindset. I think he's where he needs to be right now. He's investing at that age to come here and learn all of this to add these services so he can go back and make money and come back to the 5-day. Ain't that right? You know, so again, it's his mindset that I look at 21, and you know, and talking to the other guys during the class, you know, your life experiences. Where are you going to be at when you're 21? What did you do and how are you acting? Or when you're 30 or you're 40? What's your mindset? If you're 40 and you're still going out and you're hitting the bars and your life's all about partying and you're running a business, it tells me how you're running your business, you know. It's change that mindset, you know. And I think, you know, that's a podcast that you and Justin Labato, I think, should do, Renny. I'm gonna throw that out there right now. is that mindset, you know, that he had when he was going into the boxing. He was able to manage all that, but keep that mindset into a fight that he was training for, running his businesses. And then when he went and accomplished and he won, he turned that mindset, took over the mindset to his family so his wife can go do a competition. That's a strong mindset right there. That is like overall, and this is all within months, guys. I think he started training in January, you know, and it's like, I look at someone like that, like Renny, you know, Joab, Doug, Bobby, all these masters and founders of the Detail Mafia that I look at their mindset and how they are, put myself in their shoes and be like, what are they thinking right now? How are they operating? What are they allowing their time to be consumed with? You know,
And the reason why we bring some of these people up is that, listen, there's some great entrepreneurs from outside our group, but we've got a large concentration of fantastic entrepreneurs in the group, and, you know, birds of a feather, right? And some are there, they've arrived, some are semi-arrived, some are working at arriving, and others are just getting their start. And that's the beautiful thing. And so I want to leave off with a little quote, Oscar, if I can, here in a minute, but some additional income things that you can think about that might take some kind of some education on your part. Aircraft detailing, you know, that was our niche for years. And there's a lot of stuff out there right now floating about aircraft detailing. Some of it's really solid. Some of it I question. RVs, again, there's some really solid stuff out there. And then there's people that there's like, no way, you know, there's no way. Boats, same thing. ATVs, man. What about doing simple coatings and cleanings on ATVs, residential coatings, and then think outside of the box. There's so many sublets of our business that we started to bring additional income streams in. It's insane. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work too good. Some of them we sold off completely separately from companies we had. And so yet completely think out of the box. There's going to be opportunities arise that you're not even thinking about now, and really look at them and don't be afraid of taking them. So I want to leave you with this is I believe it was Ferrari, and I used their term. They were asked a while back why they don't, match Porsche and do commercials on TV. And Ferrari said, because our customers don't, their habits don't allow them to watch TV. And I remember when a TV station came to us to advertise our detailing services, and I started asking around to our clients, and they all had one thing in common. They watched the financials in the morning, which was not going to be aired. Our ads were not going to be aired during that. And they're off, is that they're readers more than that. And they're about relationships. They're too busy to watch TV. And so I really do that. So let me ask you this. What's your habits when nobody's watching? When nobody's watching, or when nobody's close by, what's your habits? You can only ask that. Are you sleeping in? Are you going when you should be working and being at a chamber meeting, and you're not? Are you, instead of making calls to customers, you're on social media? Listen, there's a time to go and enjoy yourself and have pleasure. But if you're suffering and you're not hitting your targets, that part of that shouldn't be in your agenda right now. It shouldn't be in your agenda. On the weekends, that's your business, right? But when you're all about business and you got mouths to feed and you've got a business to build and you've got people relying on you, even yourself, and you have dreams, visions, and plans to make that happen, those things don't fit into that category. And people before you will tell you that they didn't do it screwing around. Is that you've got, and especially now of all times, it is really tough. It's expensive to make it. Things are extremely, extremely expensive, much more than when I got my start. And so with that, you've got to be more serious. And if you're young, is you got a couple things going against you. You've got age and inexperience. You also got something going for you. You got your age. Is that if you play it right, your age can play out well for you. It's not an excuse. If you're older, again, use your wisdom. And if you're not wise, then get wise. Be around wise people. Oscar said it earlier, who you're hanging around with. So again, I'm going to end it with that, is that what are you doing when nobody's looking? How serious are you? And thrive, don't simply survive. So Oscar, we got a lot of cool things coming up. We've been doing a lot of interviews and so forth. We've got another event tomorrow, correct? So Ivan from IK is with us tomorrow night. Is that correct?
We'll be live with IK. You'll be live with IK tomorrow night, 5:30 Pacific time. Other events, we've got the sanding class again, November, guys. We'll have dropped the flyer today. Check out all the social medias, Detailing Success, Renny Doyle, follow them, get out there. We also have your party coming up in Vegas. We got SEMA right around the corner.
We do.
SEMA is in full effect right now, and there's a lot of planning going into that right now on our behalf. So we definitely will have a presence at SEMA. If you're going out there, we'll be walking the floor, so look out for those Detailing Success shirts that we'll be wearing. If you have any questions, just stop us. We'll have a few people representing us out there. Not only Becky, myself, Renny, and then we'll also be dropping your schedule where you're going to be at SEMA. So look out for Renny's schedule if you want to come up, you want to talk to him. If this podcast in any way has helped you in any kind of way and you just want to furthermore, we will drop his schedule so you can find him. Go check him out at the booth at Diner Bread and PNS. And yeah, get out there and talk to him in person. And we'd like to hear from you. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, detailingsuccess.com.
Guys, hey, take care. Thanks for being on again. We hope that we've made an impact, and we love to hear from you. So happy detailing all. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow night. Oscar, I'll see you here in about 5 seconds. We're going to get Becky and the gang. They're going to start working pretty hard, and we're going to go to work on some other things. So
yep. And one more thing, if you're interested in any of the trainings that you're following on social media, go ahead and reach out. Just send us a message on social media if you have any questions on PPF, window tint, detailing, whatever it is you see out there. If it's interested or you think it can help your business, drop us a note. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
take care all. Happy detailing. We'll see you.